Welcome back to Good Sports for You, where we are talking about good sports for you. And today we are going to be talking about the second baseman for each team. This is a super fun position, so I cannot wait to hop right into it. But before we do, I want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate it so much. So for this ranking, I'm looking at the past 3 seasons for each player to get a more complete picture. Obviously, the more recent a season is, the more weight is going to have on my rankings. But just wanted to get that out of the way. And also for depth charts, I use MLB.com and Fangraphs and kind of figured out what to do there, right? And also just a reminder, this is for the 2026 season, so there is a bit of a projection in there as well. But let's hop right into it with player number 30. At number 30, we have Ryan Ritter for the Colorado Rockies. Ritter had his rookie season this past year, and it wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. Coming in with a 0.3 WAR, hitting for a 632 OPS, a 69 OPS plus, which isn't nice, but after just turning 25, he still has plenty of room to improve. At number 29, Christian Moore for the Los Angeles Angels. Moore, similar to Ritter, didn't have a great rookie season, ending with 0.1 WAR, hitting below the Mendoza line at a 198 average, with a 655 OPS for an 81 OPS plus. But Moore is only 23 and was a top 100 prospect after a fantastic career at Tennessee. So I have reason to believe he can jump, but the stats can't justify anything higher. At number 28, we have Brayan Rocchio for the Cleveland Guardians. Rocchio is our first non-rookie on the list, and after a rough 2025, I think it's justifiable. Rocchio had a career-high OPS plus of 76 in 2024, and it dropped slightly to 75 this season, and the defense had a big step back to give Rocchio his first negative WAR season at negative 0.3. Rocchio has shown that his bat isn't all that, but if his glove can get back to where it used to be, he can still be valuable. Coming in at 27 for the Seattle Mariners, we have Cole Young. Young is going to need to step it up big time after the Mariners didn't bring back a couple of big bats this offseason. Young hit for a 211 average with only 4 home runs this season, good for a 0.5 WAR in 77 games with a 78 OPS plus. Young, similar to many players on this list, is very young, no pun intended, and only 22, and was a consensus top 100 prospect, so it is very reasonable to think Young can step it up for the Mariners this season. At 26, the Cincinnati Reds have Matt McLain. McLain's 2025 season was his first season back after surgery kept him sidelined for all of 2024, and it didn't go great. McLain put up 0 WAR in 147 games with a 220 average and a 643 OPS for a 74 OPS plus. But the talent is there. McLain had a great 2023, putting up 3.6 WAR in only 89 games, hitting 290 with an 864 OPS for a 127 OPS plus. If McLain can get back to the heights of his 2023 season, expect to jump up in the rankings. At 25, Jonathan India for the Kansas City Royals. Another guy who had a great rookie season, India has never reached the success of his rookie year. India's 2025 was the worst offensive season of his career, hitting under double-digit home runs for the first time in his career and ending with 0.4 WAR and an 89 OPS plus. The defense has always been suspect, and this season was no different. And at 29, I doubt much will change. At 24, Jackson Holliday for the Baltimore Orioles. Holliday is an interesting case, as he was the former first overall pick and number 1 prospect after raking in the minor leagues. But Holliday has struggled in the majors. His first season, he hit for a very poor 189 average and had an OPS plus of 63. This season, Holliday took a big step forward, hitting 242 with a 95 OPS plus. He still has tons of potential after just turning 22. I still believe in the former top pick to put together some really good seasons. At 23, we have another former top prospect, Gavin Lux of the Tampa Bay Rays. Lux was once the number 2 prospect, and he has turned that into a decent career. In 2022, he put up 2.8 WAR with a 109 OPS plus and bounced back from injury in 2024 to have 2.1 WAR with a 99 OPS plus. But this season, Lux really struggled with a 97 OPS plus and a negative 0.2 WAR. The WAR was largely because he was awful defensively, especially when he was playing the outfield. The Rays are hoping that the defense will bounce back and he can get back to his old self. At 22 for the Chicago White Sox, we have Chase Meidroth. Meidroth put together a nice little rookie season, putting up 1.3 WAR. His hitting wasn't incredible, hitting for a 253 average and only 5 home runs, ending with a 649 OPS for an 84 OPS plus. But he is a solid defender, which helps his value, and Meidroth is another young player at only 24. If he can add some pop, he can be an important part of the White Sox young core. At 21, Luis Garcia Jr. for the Washington Nationals. Garcia had a worrying step back this season after a very solid 2024 where he posted 2.2 WAR with a 114 OPS plus. In 2025, he put up 0.4 WAR with a 97 OPS plus. His on-base percentage dropped below 300, which is a big-time concern. But the good news is his expected stats are still very good. So for 2026, I would expect a good bounce-back season. At 20, for the St. Louis Cardinals, we have J.J. Weatherholt. Weatherholt hasn't played a single game in the MLB, so it's hard to project what will happen, or even how much he will play second. But with the Cardinals going full rebuild, he is expected to get the call this season. And with Mason Winn at shortstop, Weatherholt is probably going to be the second baseman. As a prospect, Weatherholt has showcased an elite hit tool with a 304 average in the minors across 2 years. The Cardinals are expecting Weatherholt to be a key cog in their rebuild. At 29, we have Tommy Edman for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Edman is still a quality and valuable player for the Dodgers. He can play all over the place and can still play really good defense, but his bat has fallen off as he has struggled with an ankle injury that required surgery in the offseason. This was evident as he had his worst season with 1.1 WAR with a 225 average and a 655 OPS, good for an 82 OPS plus across 97 games. The defense will always be there, but the bat needs to come back to get higher on the list. At 18, we have Romy Gonzalez for the Boston Red Sox. Gonzalez really put it all together offensively this season, hitting 305 with an 826 OPS for a 128 OPS plus and 2 WAR in 96 games. He thrived against lefties this year with an OPS approaching 1,000 at 978. This is his second season in a row with an OPS plus above 100, and the Red Sox are hoping that this stays a trend. At 17, we have Jeff McNeil for the Athletics of Northern California. McNeil was another lifelong Met that was flipped this offseason, and this time it was to the Athletics. McNeil had a decent year at the plate with a 111 OPS plus. The contact wasn't there as much as it used to be, only hitting a 243 average this season. He still put up 2 WAR, so he still provides value to a ball club, and I'm excited to see what he can do for a young A's team. Zach Geloff is also listed as a second baseman for the A's, so I'd expect him to get some run. At 16, we have the new San Francisco Giant, Luis Arraez. Arraez is supposed to be returning to second base after spending the majority of his season at first base in 2024. The defense is always rough, but you don't sign Arraez for his glove or his power. You sign him for his contact tool. Even with his average dropping, he still hit 292 last season in a 1.2 WAR season with a 99 OPS plus. Arraez can still be a very valuable bat for this Giants team. Starting the top half at number 15, we have Luke Keeschel for the Minnesota Twins. Keeschel had an awesome rookie season, putting up 2 WAR, slashing 302, 382, 445 for an 827 OPS. That's good for an incredible 128 OPS plus in only 49 games. But the question is, can the 23-year-old sustain this for a whole season? If he can, he'll shoot up the list. But sophomore slumps do happen, so I wouldn't keep your hopes too high. At 14, we have Ozzie Albies for the Atlanta Braves. Albies is one of my favorite players, but unfortunately, he hasn't strung together the 2 best seasons in a row after an incredible 2023 where he put up 5 WAR with a 126 OPS plus. In 2024, he put up 1.6 WAR with a 95 OPS plus and only 10 home runs. And this season, he put up 2.1 WAR with an 89 OPS plus and 16 home runs. I'm hoping he can bounce back because when he can string it together, he's one of the best players in the game. At 23, we have Jake Cronenworth for the San Diego Padres. I know he was just ranked in the first base video, but according to Fangraphs and MLB.com now, he is the second baseman. Cronenworth had a nice bounce back season this year, hitting above 100 OPS plus for the first time since 2022 with a 108 OPS plus. And he liked the offensive numbers a lot more at second base than you do at first, but you would still like more than 11 home runs, which is what he put up in 2025. At 12, we have Brandon Lau for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates traded for a solid bat in Lau this offseason. The defense is rough for him, but the bat is great, never having an OPS plus below 112 in a full season. And last season was no different, hitting for a 116 OPS plus and 31 home runs. Going into his age 31 season, there's no reason to think that the bat will drop off. Right outside the top 10, we have Bryson Stott for the Philadelphia Phillies. Stott's bat has always been consistently mediocre. The past 3 seasons, he's had a 103, 86, and 96 OPS plus. But where he really jumps up the list is in his defense. He's one of the best defenders at second base with an outs above average in the 94th percentile. This has resulted in solid WAR seasons the past 3 years at 4.3, 2.5, and 2.2. There's no reason to expect anything different this season. And starting the top 10, for the Houston Astros, we have Jose Altuve. Altuve has had an illustrious career, but it seems his best times are behind him as he turns 36 this season. His bat is still decent with a 112 OPS+, but that is his worst OPS plus in a full season since 2013. And his defense was awful this year, but that has a lot to do with the Astros deciding to put him in left field for whatever reason. But his defense has never been great, but the numbers look even worse because of that time in the outfield. I still believe in Altuve's talent, but age does seem to be catching up with him. At number 9, we have Josh Smith for the Texas Rangers. He may not be the biggest name on the list, but Smith has put up back-to-back very solid seasons with 3.2 WAR and 3 WAR with an OPS plus of 114 and 107 in the past 2 seasons. Smith can play a little bit of everywhere and honestly hasn't played a lot of second base, but he's still a very good player. He's definitely the kind of guy that any team would be more than happy to make room on the roster for. At number 8, we have Xavier Edwards of the Miami Marlins. I'm a big believer in Xavier Edwards. I saw him hit for the cycle and his first triple and home run all in the same game. He's an uber talented player who put up 3.2 WAR this last season with a 94 OPS plus. In the season before, he had a much better bat with a 129 OPS plus. But the defense was worse because he was running short and really struggled. I would love to see him add some pop in the bat, only hitting 3 home runs in 2025. But regardless, I still think he's going to have a great season. At number 7, we have Gleyber Torres for the Detroit Tigers. Torres had another solid season at the plate with a 108 OPS plus. Torres will always provide a solid bat, not having an OPS plus below 100 since 2021. But the power has dipped a bit since his peak, only hitting 16 home runs this season. He isn't any higher because the glove is not ideal, but he's an all-star caliber player and he proved it once again in 2025. Right outside the top 5 at number 6, the postseason hero for the Toronto Blue Jays, Ernie Clement. I may be a victim to the moment here, but Clement was so good in the postseason, setting the record for most hits in a single playoffs. And in the regular season, Clement was still very solid. His bat has been about average the past 2 seasons with an OPS plus of 94 and 95. He slaps the ball around with a 277 average this season and only 9 home runs. But the defense is great, resulting in the 3.4 and 4.3 WAR seasons. Very deserving of a spot right outside the top 5. At number 5, we have brand new New York Met Marcus Semien. Semien was traded to the Mets this offseason in exchange for Brandon Nimmo, and his bat has fallen off a little bit in this past season with a 97 OPS plus. But this isn't the first time that he's had kind of a weird offseason. But his offseason is still putting up 3.3 WAR. He is still elite defensively, winning his 2nd Gold Glove this past season. He is getting older at 35, but I wouldn't write off a bounce-back season quite yet. At number 4, we got Jazz Chisholm for the New York Yankees. For me, there's a big jump from 5 to 4, as Chisholm is the first of these guys who's going to be a consistent all-star. Chisholm had another great season, putting up 4.2 WAR with a 125 OPS plus. He plays solid defense, and he hit 30 home runs, and he stole 30 bases. He's hitting his prime right now after just turning 28 a few days ago, so expect another solid season from Chisholm. Fun player to watch, and the numbers back it up. Coming into the top 3, and this one hurts me, but at number 3, we have Bryce Turang for your Milwaukee Brewers. Turang and Nico Hoerner are right neck and neck for the number 2 spot. Turang had an objectively better hitting season, but his defense did take a step back from his platinum glove level in 2024, but his defense is still top tier. Turang found his power late in the season to hit 18 home runs, 5 more than his entire career up until this point. And he had a 288 average, leading to a 121 OPS plus. His base running wasn't as good this season, only having 24 stolen bases, down from his 50 in 2024. He had a career-high 5.6 WAR this season, and there's no reason to think he won't get better at only 26. The runner-up at number 2, as I alluded to before, is Nico Hoerner for the Chicago Cubs. Hoerner had another phenomenal season, putting up 6.2 WAR with a 114 OPS plus after hitting almost 300 this season. The power isn't really there with only 7 home runs this past season, but the defense is so good. Watching him and Dansby play up the middle in the playoffs was like watching Michelangelo paint. The reason he's over Bryce Terang is just because of consistency. He's put up an OPS plus of over 100 each of the past 5 seasons. And at number 1, we have Ketel Marte for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think it's clear to everyone that Marte is the best second baseman in the league. He easily had the best OPS plus at 145, shockingly down from his 154 last season. He's won back-to-back Silver Sluggers, and he put up 4.4 WAR in only 126 games. He's averaged almost 30 home runs the past 3 seasons and plays a solid second base. Unquestionably, the number 1 second baseman in all of baseball. But that is all I got for you. Make sure to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. You thought somebody should be higher? Let me know. Thought somebody should be lower? Let me know. Think I did perfect? Absolutely let me know that. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things, and I'm out. Peace.